It is 12:30 p.m. and I'm calling to order a regular meeting of the Operations Oversight Committee. Terry, because I know we're doing 2449, do you have announcements?
Okay, let me do the roll call first.
Okay.
This meeting is being conducted virtually and in person, so I will do a roll call of the trustees to confirm attendance. Trustees Knox, Oakham, and Harris will not be participating in today's meeting. Ms. Ginsburg?
Here.
Mr. Santos?
Present.
Ms. Gray?
Here.
Mr. Sanchez?
Here.
Mr. Green?
Present.
Mr. Robbins? He's here. Ms. Greenwood? Mr. Kehoe?
Present.
Chair Bernstein?
I'm here.
Staff participating in the meeting include CEO Santos Kryman, Deputy CEO Louis Lugo, AEOs JJ Popowich and Laura Guglielmo, Chief Counsel Stephen Rice. Trustees, please use the Zoom raise your hand option to be placed in queue. At this time, we ask all meeting participants to mute your mics until you are ready to speak, and we may now proceed with the agenda. And under AB 2449, a request was received from Trustee Robbins for Just Cause C, physical disability, and no requests were received for emergency circumstances.
Okay. Mr. Rice, do I need to confirm approval of the 2449 request, or is that already approved?
It's already approved.
Thank you. And Mr. Green, because Mr. Knox is not here, you'll be voting today. So next thing is item 3, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of August 2nd.
Full approval?
Been moved and seconded. Vote, please. Oh.
Oh, it didn't come up on mine.
3 yes and 1 abstention.
Okay. The motion passed with 3 yes and 1 abstention.
Next is public comment. I don't believe we
I don't
any
have
substance in the
anything for
public.
public comment.
Mr. Lugo, please take it away with the LACERA operations briefing.
Yes, good afternoon, Chair Bernstein, committee members. This will be brief, no pun intended. Just want to highlight, if we can go to the briefing, page 6 or 7, the case management, if we have access to that. Just wanted to highlight one of the projects that we've been working on for the latter part of 1.5 to 2 years, which is our case management system. We had a presentation 2 weeks ago from the business users, specifically members from our disability retirement service division, as well as our disability litigation office, and lastly, our benefits division for first payment. And the project is going, as you can see, it's on schedule. The end goal with our case management system, as it relates to really truly being a operational, efficient approach to managing our cases, is in full effect. I think all business users were really satisfied with the end product. I think we have a go live. I know we have a go live later this month for 2 parts of those, for our disability retirement as well as our disability litigation. And then we'll see a go live in November, I think, Mr. Popowich, for our first payment process, which allows us to pay new beneficiaries or new members in terms of coming onto the rolls. So just wanted to give a brief update on this project. And again, thank Mr. Popowich for his sponsorship and leadership throughout the project. We are looking to come back to this committee in January, once we have a few months under our belt, to highlight some of the efficiencies that the different divisions have gained as a result of implementation of this case management system. So more to come, but definitely pleased with the project management side of things, as well as the business users in terms of making sure that we had a good scope for this particular project. And then lastly, did want to highlight also our information security officer, Chat Arande. Mr. Kryman provided a little bit of a summary in his CEO report, but we certainly want Mr. Arande to address the committee. He will be communicating with the committee often as part of the quarterly information security briefings, as well as some other ad hoc initiatives that we have on the information security side. So with that, I'll have Mr. Arande introduce himself to the committee.
Hi, just a little background about myself. I worked in the financial industry for almost 30 years. My last position was the head of cybersecurity, BCP,
I'm sure in time we'll have many questions for you, and if people do have questions, but for now, welcome. We're very glad to have you on board.
Thank you.
Chair Bernstein?
Yes.
Can I ask, just before we move on, Mr. Popovich, can you provide the board members an update on the annual benefit statements for PEPRA and where we are? Because I know it's really important for you all. I just noticed that it wasn't included in our report, so it's going to be included moving forward. But I think a
Thank you,
verbal
Mr. Carmen. That would be
presentation would be great. Thank you.
So it's kind of like a two-parter, because first you have to start with the PEPRA FAC project, and that's something we've been working on for quite a while with the Auditor Controller. They have made a major effort to adjust the file and the information that comes over on the file so that we can sort out the non-pensionable items that are embedded in Pay Code 99. So they completed that on time in July. End of July, we are in the process of taking that file, and we had subsequently done programming on our side to ingest the file and sort the information out. They're beta testing that, or they're testing that right now, and that testing is expected to be completed September 15th, in which point we expect to be able to take files on an ongoing basis, prospective basis going forward. And then they'll begin a process of ingesting small chunks of past information all the way back to 2013 or 2014, I think, as far as we can go back on that system. And that information is critical to be able to do an annual benefit statement, because that's how we are able to automatically or electronically compute an estimated retirement benefit. And that's been the holdup for PEPRA members all this time. We couldn't do a retirement benefit without spending hours of manual labor going through screen by screen by screen of information in the county's payroll system to sort things out. So that's on track, and we kicked off in August. At the end of August, we kicked off an effort to finalize the design of the new PEPRA annual benefit statement. So that team is working on that, and I have given them the goal of hopefully around November of getting that completed, so that we'll be able to electronically publish the annual benefit statements for PEPRA members. And that also, by the way, includes a redesign for the legacy members as well, so that it'll be an updated look, feel, and information. So that team's working on that, and we don't have a final ETA because we're still working with systems to figure out what the programming resources are going to be needed to meet the new design of the annual benefit statement. Right. And so, of course, once we finalize that, we'll share with this committee what that looks like and explain the whole process where we've gone through to get to that.
Yeah, there'll also be a communication plans around,
Yes.
around that. We anticipate that we're probably going to get a lot of calls in our call center, and so we wanted to make sure that you were all prepared as well, because I'm assuming that you all will probably get some inquiries from from various members. And so we'll do our level best to make sure that we're prepared for that moving forward.
I have a few questions or comments in mind. Mr. Kehoe.
Right. Mine actually is going back to the case management system. Have we? I can't recall. Have we gotten a presentation on the actual system itself? Any screenshots and things like that?
So yeah, we're going to be scheduling that in January, Trustee
Okay.
Kehoe, where you have the actual screenshots, and we have cases, active cases. We'll sanitize it, but where you can see it move through. So that's the goal, is by January that we'll come back to the OOC committee and provide that drive through.
Okay, perfect. That's what I was asking. I heard you say that in January. I just didn't know if that was kind of a statistical update on if we're going to do it or if it's going to be an actual.
It's going to actually. Yep.
Perfect. That's what I like to do.
I believe there was a presentation, a demonstration of the case management system a few months back.
Yeah, was that the
Yep.
Oversight? Do we have it? Oh, Oversight. Oh, okay. So I might have
Yeah.
missed it.
No. Yeah, but we have made a presentation, but this will
have the screenshots. This will have the
Right.
actual.
Perfect.
so it was a demonstration is what it was, as opposed to the screenshots that you're asking for.
Perfect.
Right.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mr. Green.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, that's great. I mean, it sounds like it's going to be timed well with that, benefit calculations for Plan C. I mean, we're getting into, 10 years of it now. And I just have a question, comment, being familiar with our pay structure and all the within the fire service, for example, that labor intensive, every time there's a contract, you're putting out all the payroll charts for all hands. It was, there's only a few people that were doing it. And it's now gone to a, logic chain in like an Excel spreadsheet. You put in your parameters and it spits it out. Unfortunately, what's lost is the ability to have that data available. With these pay codes, will there still be a hard copy available that can be, hey, this is all pensionable under PEPRA? Or will it completely, through the beta process, be?
So on LACERA.com, you can search for what's pensionable and non-pensionable for both PEPRA and Legacy.
By alphanumeric or just the
Both.
description?
I believe you can do it by name, and you can do it by pay code.
Fantastic. That's great.
I'll send you a link.
And like you said, there's no ETA for this, but the beta starts anticipated on the 15th of September. Right?
Well, that's for the annual benefit statement. So the pay codes have been listed on LACERA.com since I've gotten here. So you can go there and search for those. PEPRA members can go and log into My LACERA and see some information. They can run estimates, but it's not as accurate as we'd like it to be, because you can't, suss out the right, final average compensation. But the annual benefit statement for all the Legacy members, you get it at about a month after your birthday.
I mean, that
Yeah.
the new electronic process, that beta starts, so you guys.
So in November, yeah. So traditionally, we send out the annual benefit statements by mail. And that is a very involved process to set up, because when we set that up, we had to find a vendor, and then the vendor had to program how to generate the annual benefit statement. It's not just a file. We would send data and they would generate it and mail it out. So this time around, I wanted to have more control over the process. So if we want to change the annual benefit statement, if we want to do something different, so I've asked the systems group to program it so that we can generate the electronic file ourselves, right? And that also gives me the benefit of getting it out to market quicker, because if I were to do it the old way that we did the other, I'd have to do another RFP with another vendor, and that takes a long time, for them to for us to select the vendor, and then they'd have to program for it and go through that whole thing. So by bringing it back into the house, we have control over it, and we can work with whatever vendor we want to print it. It's a much simpler process to do that. So that's the electronic process that I'm talking about, that hopefully will be around November. I would suspect the end of November. And then that'll be available through My LACERA. So, what we would do is we would upload it to their member document library. We would send them an email saying, hey, your annual benefit statement's available, log in and take a look at it. It will take me a little longer to work out an arrangement to mail them out. That is the intention, to offer the ability to mail it out if people want it mailed out. So we're going to try and do it that way.
Mr. Santos.
Yes. Thank you. Congratulations on the case management system. And I believe, Mr. Lugo, you mentioned that there's going to be a presentation to this board or this committee, whichever board or committee, regarding the case management system. I will request that part of the presentation, there will be a discussion as to why it took so long. You know, we need to learn from this experience, right? Because I know Eve Sherry, rest in peace, requested it before I arrived here. And I remember when I first arrived at this board, I was still asking, you know, what happens to the case management system. So I've been here almost 5 years, and we finally got it. So I don't know how long did Eve Sherry had asked for before I got here, but it's not to blame anybody on anything. It's rather how can we learn from that experience and how we can implement what we learned in that process, because it's taken so long. It was really interesting. There was an article coming out or published by NCPERS. I just don't remember the author of this particular article, but what they were saying is that pension funds like ours need to operate more like a business. In a business setting, in the private sector, it would not take that long, certainly not years, to get a case management system in place. And especially us, that we are going to be another 5, maybe 10 years, 100 billion. So we need to operate more like a business. So again, my purpose is how can we learn and implement it for the future. But nevertheless, it's a tremendous great news that we do have the case management system. It is something that I'm quite familiar, at least from my real job in the Public Defender's Office. We would not be able to function without case management system. So it's important.
The hangup's the county, though, right? That was the hangup with all of it, right? Isn't it?
If I may.
Oh, go ahead.
To address your concerns, Trustee Santos, the case management system was requested many years ago, as most of you know, and it simply wasn't a priority. And so one of the changes that we've made with Mr. Kryman is to establish a council that vets all technology requests. It's called the ITCC, the Information Technology Council, and all requests come through that. So it's not up to me as the CIT to decide what the priorities are. It's up to the executive office and the management team. And it's been very effective. I think we've realigned our priorities. Case management is one of our top priorities.
Great, thank you very much. This is very educational for me, because I've always been wondering what was going on. And so it had nothing to do with the county. It's only internal processes that were lacking. And it took getting a new CEO to get the priority in the right
Exactly,
place.
exactly.
I will say this. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go on.
I will say this, you know, once the decision was made, you know, things took off and have been running nonstop since. And so it's been a very efficient process. You know, we went from, you know, finishing the RFP, selecting a vendor, going through discovery, and they build it as we go. So it's an agile method of programming. And so as discovery occurs, they're in the process of actually building things and refining it as we go through the whole process. So it's been from the point of saying we're going to do this, it's been efficient, and you know, we've worked very well together. I'm very pleased with the teamwork, the collaboration, and the relationship that, all of the divisions now have with our systems division. It is functioning at a high level and the best that I've seen since I've been here. And so, we're a high functioning team. Do we have room for improvement? Oh, absolutely. We all do. But we are in a very good place and growing and getting better every day. And that's it's really a testament to Mr. Kryman. It's also a testament to the current management team who is working together collaboratively to be effective.
Yeah,
And Mr. Lugo.
I'd just like to say that none of this could have happened without the support of the. So, there were a lot of things that happened between, when I arrived to now. We had the pandemic, but we were always focused in on, how do we improve the organization and the support of the board, the resources that you provided to us. I think we did a good job of selecting the right vendor, quite frankly. And I heard an interesting factoid, and I really couldn't believe it. I still don't believe it, but it is true that the first kickoff meeting for the case management system happened in August of last year. And so the teamwork and the synergy that we had with our consultant really paid off in terms of developing the product. Now, this is the case management system for the disability retirement folks. We still have two other components or two other phases that we're working with the consultant on. And so we still have a lot of work to do. But the first phase, I was actually very, very pleasantly surprised, quite frankly, of the functionality and what they built, and the teamwork and the enthusiasm that everybody shared in terms of making sure that it was going to be a successful project. Now we're still going to launch it. I'm sure there's going to be some bugs, but we're confident that it's going to meet the needs of the organization today and well into the future. And so, so I do want to commend the board for you guys had the vision, right, Mr. What was his Sherry?
Eve Sherry.
And
Rest in
so we had the pleasure of actually executing that for our members as well as the board. So we appreciate your support.
Mr. Kehoe?
Thank you. So I was in the room with Eve's Cherry on the ad hoc committee, writing on the whiteboard in the conference room over there and coming up with these suggestions or recommendations. So as a word of encouragement and as defense of all of those who came before us, I would not say that it wasn't a priority. I would say that at the time it was forward thinking, and what it was, it's evolved into now with the technology being there and all the groups working together, because there were different divisions within LACERA that were not in support of an overall case management system. So what I'm saying is that it was a very complex issue. I would avoid making blatant statements about the issue that brought it up to here today. But I'm very happy on where we are and the direction that we're going. And I'm very excited. And that's why I was asking about I would love to see it live and in action. So appreciate everyone's effort and energy for this nearly decade-long discussion that we've been having. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, everyone. All right. Thank you and welcome. We're glad to have you with us. All right, we are on to item 6, items for staff review, Terry.
I have nothing.
Items for future agenda, anybody? We have had plenty of good of the order, so I will open the floor for a moment if anyone wishes to jump in, but there is no obligation. I would be happy to entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
And without objection, we are adjourned.
Okay, let's go.
Recording stopped.